So thank you so much. Let's welcome Rachel Cox.
Thanks. Okay, so thanks, Beth. Always really great to have someone else talk about you. Thanks, everybody, for coming. I also want to say it's really great to share this evening with Jesse, wherever he is. Oh, there he is. Because Jesse, I've known Jesse a really long time, and he's been a great supporter of my work. And not only is he a great artist, but as you can see from next door, he's like a fantastic curator. So good job, Jesse. This is great. So Fill Some Type of Way is the name of this newest body of work that you see here. What you're actually looking at, the subject of these photographs, are all hot tubs and hot tub paraphernalia, like, for instance, the big flower photo that you see kind of behind you. And all of these hot tubs, they're all empty, and they've all been photographed at the sales room or the showroom that you would buy them at, so none of them have been photographed at any domestic residence or anything like that. And likewise, the few still lifes, we have one here, and then there's also two on that wall. Those are also all objects from the hot tub showrooms that are sort of on the periphery of the tubs that you might say is like informing a buyer of some kind of potential situation or mood that is possible from buying one of these hot tubs. So what I'm interested in with this work, and kind of what my own work has been focused on for the last few years, is our dependency on objects to help combat potentially uncomfortable situations, right? And so with this specific project, I'm looking at objects that have been fabricated as a way to maybe bridge some gaps between or in social and intimate situations and combat those inadequacies. So to give a little bit of context about like why hot tubs and where did this come from, I was raised for a while by my dad, and he's been a bachelor most of my life. So we always had hot tubs growing up in Texas, like never pools, and every few years he would upgrade to the next model, so I would go with him and he would like seek my input. And so mainly to get like the next upgrade on the tub, and these are the kinds of places I visited frequently, and I kind of knew photographically what the potential was there. So when I moved to Michigan, when I was teaching at Michigan State, about 2 years ago, I moved down the street from a hot tub showroom, and this is where a lot of these images come from. So that's kind of the originations of like where did they come from, why. So going back to Dad for a second, he's not here, or otherwise he'd be so embarrassed right now. But so over the years, I kind of watched him entertain various ladies in the tubs, and like when I kind of got older, I was getting older, I would have friends over, and then I would have dudes over, and so his experience with the tub, and then mine later on growing up, was really this experience of entertainment, right? Very social. I know hot tubs are used for therapy, but for me, and these hot tubs, these are like social tubs. And so when I started this project, I was really interested in how that experience of the tub can sometimes be a substitute for maybe a little bit more real or closer connection with people. And also, when I was going to photograph them, like right from the beginning, about 2 years ago, they have all these spotlights on them, and the literature that I got in the mail about them is like very similar to the way sports car interiors are shot and displayed. So for instance, you know, the interior of the sports car it's highly aestheticized, it's super sexy looking, and it's the main selling point for a lot of people. It's prominently featured in advertisements. So I was thinking a lot about that when I was photographing them, and I found it very interesting that with these hot tubs that you're seeing, for instance, this one and that really lovely kind of striated one in the entryway when you came in, you only see them like that once, because as soon as you put water in them, all that kind of loveliness disappears, especially when the jets are going. You can't even see down at the bottom. And all these decisions and resources go into the subtlety of blue, that's the sheen of this hot tub, or the placement and chrome of the jets, and that's what you're buying, and that's something you only see once. And I've loved that idea of basically buying into some sort of artificial sense of confidence, or maybe ideal. And so that's something I was kind of thinking about at the same time towards the beginning. So the way I'm photographing, as you can tell, I'm not photographing these to where you get a lot of context, or you get a lot of edges of the tub, or you see the sales floors or anything like that. I'm specifically using this kind of minimal, semi-abstracted, very formal approach, because I'm intentionally wanting to highlight the suggestive and physical characteristics of the tubs. And this is meant to sort of mirror my interpretation of how they function in my memory and in a particular type of culture. And there's all kinds of things that I'm looking at when I'm thinking about this, you know, like subtleties of curvature. I also like symmetry within the tubs and the jets and the formations. And so all those kinds of nice elements that make these like really lovely aesthetic kind of objects. And that's what I'm focusing on when I'm going into the showroom. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And I want them to feel a little bit foreign, a little bit disconnected, but also slightly suggestive of the physical and of the body. Basically, the interiors of the tub, you know, coupled with the still lifes that you see here, the reason I'm putting those together is because I want to sort of broaden the narrative that all this is about that has to deal with artifice, and how artifice and the artificial and objects are really integral, more so than I thought, or than you really give a lot of thought to, being integral to helping us relate to one another and helping bridge those social and kind of intimate inadequacies that a lot of us feel from kind of time to time. So that's just the general kind of overview of all of this. So if anyone has a specific question about any image or anything else, like, this is the time to ask me. Or you can ask me at any time, but this is the time you'll be on camera, you know? Okay. Yeah.
I have a question. So you talked about the interiors of the tubs and kind of like the shapes and forms of that, but this one looks like it's like the water.
Yeah.
Could you talk about the inclusion of that one a little bit?
Yeah, this one is a reverse image, so this is actually the negative. All of these images are analog film that's scanned and made into inkjet prints. So this one was reversed because I was looking at this particular photograph. The one on the left was photographed first, and I wanted to photograph, I did a lot of them, of just jets and water patterns, because I was interested in maybe breaking up the kind of clinical cold hot tub with something a little bit more organic to kind of change the pacing of how you'd move through the work. And I ended up just settling on this one because the distance, the subject to camera distance, is really similar. So if you think about positive and negative space, it's like the water could go into the hot tub if you think about kind of transferring it over. So I like the idea of referencing what's not there, because in a lot of these images, that's what they're about, is what's not there, is that human presence, that human connection. So that's kind of the conceptual side, and just formally, I liked how it looked as a diptych. And again, I was thinking about how these things will work in a space and breaking up all that hot tub business with something a little bit more abstract. Yeah. All right, anyone else? Yes, ma'am, here.
Where did the title of your show come from?
Okay, so Feel Some Type of Way is something that was probably like number 7 in a long list of terrible names. And when I was making this work, there were so many different ways I was thinking about it and ways to interpret what you're looking at. You know, when I would go up to some of them are really suggestive of like in a sexual nature. Some reference the body in other ways. Some look like, people talk about this one like it's an interior of some kind of spaceship. So I like the idea that there's all these different ways you can come at it, and there's different ways you're going to respond. And so I wanted to keep that open, the interpretation, and kind of reference me acknowledging that. So Feel Some Type of Way is just kind of a general thing of like, think however you want to about what you're looking at. Yeah. Yes?
What does that suggest over there?
The one on the far right? Suggestion? I think it's just suggestive of the form. Like that particular image, I thought this, well, that is an image that was put together as a way to further heighten the sense of symmetry and maybe like female anatomy. And so I like that you can, that's what I think when I look at it. Other people read all kinds of things. And so I titled it Suggestion because I wanted to reiterate that maybe when you're looking at something and you maybe feel a little like naughty of like, what is this? Should I be feeling this way? And you read the title and you're like, yes, I should. Like, you know, okay.
Well, Rachel, thank you so much for those remarks.
Thank you.